Richard Feynman once spoke about John von Neumann with a kind of bemused astonishment. He described watching him solve problems in ways that felt almost mechanical, almost inhumanly fast. Not emotional, not hesitant, just precise, as if the calculation had already been done somewhere else. Now here's the puzzle. Von Neumann had an ordinary biological brain, same neurons, same chemistry, same evolutionary hardware as yours and mine. No extra lobes, no secret circuits, nothing physically non-human. So what did Feynman observe? And what does that tell us, not about genius, but about the physics of thought itself? Because here's the deeper question hiding underneath all of this. What is a brain physically? Is it just a lump of wet chemistry running electrical signals? Is it a machine? Is it a statistical system? Is it a thermodynamic process? And could the difference between ordinary thinking and something that feels almost alien simply be a matter of physics, of information flow, energy efficiency, and structure? Let's start somewhere simple. You have felt your brain work. When you try to remember a name, something struggles. When you multiply 47 by 23 in your head, you feel the effort. When you solve a puzzle, there's friction, like gears turning slowly. But occasionally, very occasionally, something clicks. The answer appears instantly. No steps, no visible path, just insight. That moment feels magical, but it isn't magic. It is physics. Your brain is an electrical organ. Every thought corresponds to patterns of neurons firing, tiny voltage spikes propagating along axons. Each neuron communicates chemically and electrically with thousands of others. At any moment, billions of these signals ripple across your cortex. That sounds messy, chaotic, slow, and yet, remarkably, this system can outperform supercomputers in pattern recognition, creativity, abstraction. So what makes one brain seem ordinary and another seem almost non-human? To understand that, we need to step back. Before we talk about von Neumann, we need to talk about energy. Your brain is about 2% of your body weight, yet it consumes roughly 20% of your resting metabolic energy. That's enormous. Evolution doesn't tolerate waste. If something burns that much fuel, it had better be useful. Why so much energy? Because computation costs energy. Every time a neuron fires, ions move across membranes. Sodium and potassium gradients are disrupted. Pumps must restore them. That takes ATP. That takes metabolic work. Thought is not abstract. It is thermodynamic. There is a deep law in physics called Landauer's principle. It tells us that erasing information requires energy. Not a lot, but a fundamental minimum. Information is physical. Bits are not just symbols. They are physical states of matter. So when you change your mind, literally, when your brain updates its internal representation of the world, there is a tiny thermodynamic cost. Now imagine a brain that organizes information so efficiently that it minimizes wasted computation. A brain that compresses patterns almost instantly. A brain that finds shortcuts through the space of possibilities. That would not violate physics. It would exploit it beautifully. Let's think about computation for a moment. When you multiply numbers, you likely use a step-by-step algorithm. But von Neumann reportedly could hold enormous structures in his head and manipulate them fluidly. He didn't just calculate faster, he seemed to restructure the problem. That suggests something deeper than speed. It suggests architecture. In computers, architecture matters more than raw clock speed. A poorly organized system running at high frequency can still lose to a cleverly designed structure operating more slowly. The brain is not a digital computer. It's massively parallel. It processes information simultaneously across distributed networks. Patterns reinforce other patterns. Signals compete and cooperate. Now here's something interesting. Neurons are slow. Compared to transistors, they are glacial. A neuron fires maybe a few hundred times per second. A transistor switches billions of times per second. So why doesn't your brain feel slow? Because it doesn't rely on sequential speed. It relies on parallel structure. Imagine trying to find a face in a crowd by scanning each person one by one. That's how a naive algorithm would work. Now imagine 1,000 watchers, each responsible for a tiny feature, edges, colors, orientations, working simultaneously. Suddenly, recognition feels instantaneous. The brain wins not by speed, but by organization. So perhaps what Feynman glimpsed in von Neumann was not superhuman hardware, but extraordinary organization. But that leads to another question. How does structure emerge in the brain? Neurons connect through synapses. Those connections strengthen or weaken depending on activity. Neurons that fire together wire together, as the saying goes. Over time, experience sculpts the network. This is self-organization, a principle that appears everywhere in physics. Snowflakes form intricate patterns from simple water molecules, galaxies form spirals from gravitational attraction, lasers produce coherent light from chaotic atoms. Order emerges when energy flows through matter under the right constraints. Your brain is matter with energy flowing through it continuously. Billions of neurons, bathed in glucose and oxygen, exchanging ions, updating connections. It is a dynamic system far from equilibrium. In physics, systems far from equilibrium can develop astonishing complexity. Think of convection cells in heated fluid. Heat a pot of water gently, and nothing interesting happens. Heat it beyond a threshold, and beautiful organized rolls appear. The system reorganizes itself to dissipate energy more efficiently. The brain may operate similarly. Intelligence may be a mode of energy dissipation structured by evolution. That sounds abstract, but stay with me. If a system can process information in ways that allow it to predict and control its environment, it can acquire more energy and survive. Evolution selects for brains that build increasingly accurate internal models of the world. Now imagine a brain that not only models physical systems well, but models mathematical structures with uncanny clarity. Von Neumann helped formalize quantum mechanics. He contributed to game theory, computer architecture, nuclear physics, economics. He could manipulate abstract structures as if they were physical objects. That ability suggests something profound. The human brain can represent mathematical reality in physical neural states. When von Neumann reasoned about Hilbert spaces, operators, probability amplitudes, those were not ethereal entities floating in the void. They corresponded to neural firing patterns in his cortex. So here's the twist. The not-human feeling Feynman described may reflect encountering a brain that had learned to map extremely abstract, high-dimensional structures onto biological hardware with astonishing efficiency. It felt alien because most brains struggle at that level of abstraction. Let's dig deeper. Consider working memory. Most people can hold about 7 items in short-term memory, give or take. It's limited. That's a cognitive bottleneck. But there's a trick. You can chunk information. A chess grandmaster can look at a board and instantly remember positions, not because they memorize each piece individually, but because they see patterns, configurations, structures. What looks like many elements becomes one coherent unit. If von Neumann's brain chunked mathematical structures the way a grandmaster chunks chess patterns, then enormous equations could collapse into a few conceptual blocks. That would feel like magic to an observer. But it's just pattern compression, and compression is a physical process. In information theory, compression works by eliminating redundancy. If a pattern has structure, it can be encoded more efficiently. The better your internal model, the fewer bits you need to describe reality. So perhaps genius is not about thinking more, it's about compressing better. Let me ask you something. When you look at a complex equation, do you see symbols or do you see relationships? A beginner sees letters and numbers. An expert sees geometry, symmetry, invariance. The symbols disappear, the structure remains. Now imagine taking that ability to the extreme. Von Neumann reportedly could perform complex mental arithmetic in seconds. He could quote entire pages of text verbatim. He could foresee consequences in elaborate strategic systems. That suggests extremely low friction in his neural networks. Signals flowing along well-trained pathways with minimal noise. Noise is important here. All physical systems have noise. Thermal fluctuations, random ion channel openings. The brain is noisy, neurons misfire, synapses vary, yet cognition is robust. How? Through redundancy and error correction. Information theory again. Claude Shannon showed that even in noisy channels, reliable communication is possible if you encode information cleverly. Add redundancy. Use structure. The brain likely implements similar strategies implicitly. Patterns are distributed across many neurons. If one fails, the pattern survives. A more efficient brain may not be less noisy, but better at correcting noise. That's physics, not mysticism. But here's where it becomes truly fascinating. Von Neumann was one of the architects of the digital computer. He formalized the stored program architecture, instructions and data in memory, sequential execution. But the irony is this: his own brain was nothing like a digital computer. Digital computers process bits deterministically. The brain is analog, stochastic, nonlinear. And yet, Von Neumann could reason about machines that would one day outperform humans in arithmetic. He once speculated about self-reproducing automata, machines that could build copies of themselves. That's an idea rooted in thermodynamics and information theory. It's about the physics of replication. Life itself is a kind of computation. DNA stores instructions, cells execute them, organisms replicate. So when Feynman looked at von Neumann, he was perhaps seeing a human mind that had internalized the logic of machines before machines truly existed. Now let's turn the question around. What makes a brain human in the first place? Emotion, fallibility, slowness, intuition. If you strip those away and leave pure calculation, does it feel less human? But calculation alone isn't intelligence. A calculator can multiply faster than any of us. That doesn't make it insightful. Insight involves model building, recognizing deep equivalences. Take Galileo. He realized that falling objects accelerate uniformly. He stripped away Aristotle's intuitive physics and replaced it with mathematical description. Newton unified terrestrial and celestial motion with one law. Einstein unified space and time. Von Neumann helped formalize the mathematics of quantum theory, the theory that tells us reality itself is probabilistic at the smallest scales. These breakthroughs weren't just fast calculations, they were reorganizations of thought. So perhaps what Feynman sensed was not cold machinery, but radical clarity. Let's think about clarity. In physics, clarity often comes from symmetry. When we discover that a system behaves the same under certain transformations, rotations, translations, we gain power. Symmetry leads to conservation laws. Emmy Noether showed that every continuous symmetry corresponds to a conserved quantity. Time translation symmetry leads to conservation of energy. Space translation symmetry leads to conservation of momentum. These are not arbitrary facts. They are deep structural truths. A brain that naturally seeks symmetry might navigate complex theories more easily. It might instinctively look for invariance. That kind of thinking can feel alien to those who rely on step-by-step reasoning. But it is deeply human, just rare. Now here's a subtle point. There is a limit to how fast a brain can compute. Neurons have refractory periods. Signals travel at finite speeds, meters per second, not the speed of light. There is also a limit to how much information can be stored in a finite physical system. The brain weighs about 1.4 kilograms. It contains roughly 10 or 11 neurons and perhaps 10 or 14 synapses. That's enormous but finite. So von Neumann's abilities did not break physical limits. They approached them cleverly. Think of a river flowing downhill. The water doesn't choose its path consciously. It finds the steepest descent. Energy moves toward equilibrium. The brain may perform a kind of energy minimization when solving problems. Neural networks, both biological and artificial, often operate by minimizing some cost function. When you recognize a pattern, your brain settles into a stable state, a minimum of some internal energy landscape. Perhaps von Neumann's internal landscape had unusually smooth valleys for mathematical structures. Problems that were rugged terrain for others were gentle slopes for him. That doesn't make him non-human. It makes his network unusually well-trained in certain domains. But here's where the story touches something profound. Quantum mechanics, the theory von Neumann helped formalize, tells us that measurement changes systems. Observing a quantum state collapses possibilities into outcomes. Now don't jump to mystical conclusions. The brain does not operate as a quantum computer in any established sense. There's no evidence that quantum coherence drives thought in a meaningful way at brain temperatures. But the mathematics of probability, of amplitudes and operators, became tools for describing physical reality. Von Neumann brought rigorous structure to those ideas. He clarified the role of Hilbert spaces. He addressed measurement formally. He was mapping uncertainty itself into mathematical form. So imagine being Feynman, already a towering intellect, and watching someone manipulate the foundations of uncertainty with mechanical precision. It might feel like encountering a different species of mind. Yet here's the humbling truth. The same physical laws that govern von Neumann's brain govern yours. The same ions, the same thermodynamics, the same information constraints. So what separates genius from the rest of us? It may be less about raw capacity and more about network topology. In complex systems, connectivity matters. Small changes in how nodes connect can dramatically alter behavior. Think of the difference between a random network and a highly structured one. Information propagates differently. Feedback loops behave differently. During development and learning, the brain's wiring is shaped by genetics and experience. Perhaps von Neumann's developmental trajectory sculpted an unusually efficient high-level abstraction network. That doesn't diminish his achievement, it deepens it. It means that extraordinary insight can emerge from ordinary matter arranged just so, and that is more astonishing than any supernatural explanation. Let's take one final thought experiment. Imagine you could shrink down and watch neurons fire in von Neumann's brain while he solved a problem. You'd see electrical pulses, chemical diffusion, synaptic changes, nothing glowing, nothing mystical, just physics. But the pattern of those pulses, the choreography, would encode structures that mirror the deep symmetries of mathematics and nature. That's the miracle. Not that it was non-human, but that the human brain, through evolution and self-organization, can instantiate the logic of the universe within itself. When Feynman felt he was observing something not human, perhaps he was reacting to the uncanny alignment between one man's neural patterns and the abstract structure of reality. It felt alien because it revealed how far human cognition can stretch. And that leads us back to the beginning. If a brain can compress reality so effectively that it seems mechanical, alien, beyond emotion, does that make it less human? Or does it reveal the true depth of what being human means? We are matter that models matter. We are thermodynamic systems that discovered thermodynamics. We are collections of neurons that can represent Hilbert spaces, black holes, nuclear reactions, self-reproducing automata. The same physical laws that bind atoms in stars bind sodium channels in your neurons. And from that, consciousness arises. So when Feynman looked at von Neumann and saw something not human, what he really saw was the extreme edge of human possibility, where biological hardware brushes against the mathematical fabric of the universe. Not alien, not mechanical, but profoundly, beautifully physical. And that, to me, is far more astonishing than any myth of superhuman brains, because it means the laws of physics are not just out there in galaxies and particles. They are in here, firing, right now, in you.